Hello. Welcome, welcome. This is the Burn KC, coming to you live from my kitchen. Coming to you live from my kitchen, where I normally host the Burn. We got the first annual BKCFL Draft tonight. This is an 8-team league, the debut league for the Burn KC. Didn't quite get to 10, but 8 is more than enough. And honestly, anything more than 12 it gets chaotic. So 8's pretty solid too. In my opinion, 10 is the perfect number, but 8 will do. Thank you all very much for signing up. This is going to be a little bit more of a laid-back type of Scorchcast, not really like, going into certain subjects in depth, more just kind of talking about them in summary. But we do have a few things to go over tonight as we proceed through this draft, which begins in 3 minutes. Got a few draft notes going on. It's looking like via ESPN, Jonathan Taylor is the predicted #1 overall pick in most in most leagues. I have a few thoughts on that. He's good. He's the best running back in the league for sure. And I think running backs guarantee you the most points. But if you're wanting someone that's going to get you big points, because this is a points per reception league, which means they get a point per reception, and then they're scored based on their total receptions, basically, as well as the yards that they gain and so on. Personally, I would have to go with Jamar Chase as the #1 overall in terms of the potential for most points. I wouldn't necessarily say is going to get the most points. I mean, like I said, running back is your key position in fantasy football. A lot of people say, well, it's the quarterback, No. Unless you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, of course, it's kind of tough to pick a quarterback in the first round. I generally go with a running back, a wide receiver, and honestly, unless the wide receiver I know is a complete game breaker like last year's Deebo Samuel, I'm not picking him first. I'm not going to give away my pick by any stretch of the imagination, as I am picking #1 overall. That's right, I took that burden off of y'all's shoulders. There's really no benefit to taking #1 overall in a league with 8 players. I mean, the first 8 are probably going to be the top 8 in the NFL in terms of players. So, I mean, it's kind of a moot point unless someone is absolutely off the rails, which we may see. We may see a tight end go in the first round. Or shoot, even a defense. I've seen defenses being picked before. I saw last year's Bucks defense picked first in one of my leagues. They ended up getting last, but, can't hurt. Just pick the #1 defense and just soil it. I'm sorry, I digress. We're beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the Burn KC draft is now live. I'm on the clock. Who do I pick? Maybe one of the few people that I've been talking about. The choice is all mine. I think I know my answer. That's right, folks. I am picking Jonathan Taylor with the first overall pick. Jonathan Taylor is off the board. We now move to the Kansas City Steinleys. Who are the Kansas City Steinleys going to pick? The second projected points player is Christian McCaffrey, injury-prone guy, which I think is people's main concern when it comes to drafting him. Who knows? We might see another running back come off the board. My personal pick would probably not be McCaffrey, though, given his injury history. But we shall see what the Steinleys choose to do here. They got 40 seconds left on the clock to pick. Let's see if they pick through. I know 5 p.m. is a bit of a weird time. But hey, we're here now. I believe the CPU just picks the best available. So we may just be dealing with that unless anything else occurs. Let me go ahead and tune away from the draft for a second. Who do we have picked here for... Oh. I missed the pick. Hold on. Looks like Austin Eckler was the selection for the auto pick for the Steinleys. It looks like Brandon Ellifert's Berlin Jellydon is on the clock. Austin Eckler is a good position. I think... Or Austin Eckler is a good guy to pick with your first-round pick. I think he's such a dynamic back, both in the receiving game and the passing game. He'll definitely get you a lot of points. My only thing is I know the Chargers have the weaponry, but do they have the coaching is the major question. And is Austin Eckler's age going to play into how well he does in this situation? He is getting up there in terms of running back years, unfortunately. But he's still, if last year was any indication, he's still one of the top backs in the league. I think that's a great pick. We'll see what Brandon picks here. He's going to be loading in here soon, I hope. Looks like we've got another auto pick going. Let's see who he picks here. It's going to be... One second. Christian McCaffrey. Looks like Brandon was the pick for Christian McCaffrey. Now we got my mom, the Kansas City Crowhawks, on the clock. Or was it? Hold on. Oh. And wait, what? Looks like the Steinleys actually picked Christian McCaffrey. And Brandon picked Cooper Kupp. My apologies. But there's my little thing on... Oh, Team Merrigan picked up Austin Eckler. Okay, it's going a little quick here. We're already at pick 5. Holy cow. Alright, we got 29 seconds left. 25 for the Crowhawks here. Who are they going to pick? Waiting on the pick here, 5 seconds left. And it looks like the Crowhawks went ahead and picked Justin Jefferson, a great wide receiver there. I tend to agree with that one, more or less. It looks like Team American drafted Derrick Henry. Good pick there. Titans running game is going to be strong as always, especially with that lack of receivers. I think Derrick Henry is going to be their offense, and as long as he doesn't get injured, he could be big points. So, let's see here. Anyone else drafted yet? Continue to look here. Continuing to look here, I believe we are caught up with the picks. Yeah, I believe so. So, in the meantime, like I said, in between the draft, we're going to be talking some other sports news. Kansas City Rugby, i.e. the Kansas City Blues, they took a loss, unfortunately, over Minneapolis. It was a tough, hard-fought game. The score does not indicate how close it was. Looking like the Blues just ran out of gas. And unfortunately, such is rugby. Rugby definitely has the fitness category as a major factor. It looks like we had another pick in here. Let me go ahead and check it out. Okay, so Jamar Chase was the pick for Courtney Merrigan. Jamar Chase. So, continuing on with rugby though, fitness is such a key part of it, and if you're not well conditioned, you're going to end up losing a lot of games. You can have all the rugby skill and the physical attributes in the world, but in the end, you've got to be willing to push through that tiredness and push through to condition. So, well done to Metropolis. A good match by all accounts. Looks like it was a kind of chippy match at times, but overall, I think at the end of the day, everybody was just rugby players. They all went out and had a good time. So the Blues look to next week where we will be facing Wisconsin. A little bit of an easier team, but still not a team to be trifled with. Blues are still going to have to be on their A game. They showed a little bit of it by the looks of it in yesterday's game again, or excuse me, 2 days ago. In that game versus Metro, unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I was at a wedding. It looks like we got Plowboys picking Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, okay, Owen Kamara coming off the board pretty quick here. Monte Adams for Team Merrigan. Let's see who Mom picks here. Patrick Mahomes. Brandon, you got Deebo Samuel. Okay. Solid. Alright, Joe Mixon going to Tyler Merrigan. Stephon Diggs going to Steinleys, and I am on the clock. So, who do we pick? I think I'm going to shoot for my first wide receiver and go ahead and grab Keenan Allen off the board. Guy with a lot of receptions. Oh, it's my turn again. Here we go. Let's go. Gosh, running backs have fallen off the board. I'm going to go with Aaron Jones. I think Packers are going to be more of a running offense. Now that Aaron Rodgers doesn't really have as many weapons. I think the Steinleys picked CeeDee Lamb, by the way. Mark Andrews is off the board. DeAndre Swift off the board for Berlin Jelly-Don. We got my mom picking for the Crowhawks. She selects the Bills defense. Defense in the third round. Interesting. But go off, I guess. We're now to the third round, pick 6 here. It's going pretty quick. A lot of people on auto pick, but that's all right. No big deal. We've got ourselves a draft going. So hang tight. We'll get full rosters and breakdowns probably hereafter. Continuing on, with the in-between draft stuff. Chiefs, regular season, 1 week away. Pretty exciting stuff. Looks like we've got some selections going off the board. Again, I'll go over the rosters after the draft here. I'll just note some noteworthy takeaways. It looks like Leonard Fournette got picked by Plowboys. No, Plowboys actually... excuse me. Plowboys actually took Travis Kelce off the board. I think they are the snake in the snake draft. My apologies. As am I. So it looks like they went ahead and selected Travis Kelce. Who are they going to pick next? Here we go. Mike on the clock, my stepdad. But going back to the Chiefs, cut day. A few surprises, mostly people that were kept on rather than cut. Ronald Jones made the roster after the Derek Gore injury. Shane Buechele coming in to make that a 3 quarterback system. Well, 3 as in 2 backups, 1 very obvious starter in Patrick Mahomes. I'm up next here, so keep an alert. Okay, who do we got? All right, DJ Moore, not a bad pick. Just keep on going here. Okay, so keep on going. The Steinleys have selected Michael Pittman Jr., Team American. Who are you selecting? My cat Billy Bob in the background. Continuing on though, with surprise cuts and surprise keeps. Danny Shelton experience was something. It was nice having an almost 400-pound man on the roster. He's currently on the practice squad, though, so there's a possibility of him being brought up. God forbid anybody gets injured, but there's a possibility. Maybe game plan allows for him to make the roster a time or two. Looks like Mom selected George Kittle. Pretty good selection there. I like that. Moving on here, though. Let's see what we can muster up here. Surprised Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and Josh Allen still haven't gone off the board. That's interesting. I'm surprised no one selected them yet. Yeah, I said quarterback later, but not, waiting until round 5, even though I have to, but shh. There's my AC going off, so hopefully the volume will be a bit better. Looks like Deontay Johnson was the pick for Team 5. We got Kinsey Plowboy up next. We might going to be selecting here. Okay. Mocan football, high school football. Kind of expected week. Lee Summit North, again, the score looked a lot closer than the actual game was, and I'm not even saying that just because I'm a PHS alum. But Park Hill South lost to Lee Summit North 17-34. Park Hill got a big win. I'll have to look up the scores a bit later. We'll kind of wrap things up after the draft is done, and I'm not trying to pay attention to 2 things at once. But we'll get it done here. Stay with us, and I'm happy you're here. So, anyways, kind of going off on a tangent here that isn't content based. It looks like Kyle Pitts. Ooh, great pick there for Team 5. That'll be a solid pick there, Courtney. Nicely done. Team Merrigan is on the clock right now. We'll see who they pick. But Patreon content. I'm kind of making a gauge as to what you guys would want in a potential Patreon page. With hangouts, special access to fantasy stuff, insiders, and all that. Maybe shirts, merchandise, etc. I know a guy that I can go through. Don't want to do that unless I got money, though. But hey, getting the word out, getting the feeler out of what you guys would want to see in terms of supporting me, and getting all that done here, making this thing go, perhaps introducing graphics to go across the board like a ticker or something. I think I would need someone more than... Did someone pick Josh Allen? Oh no, someone picked Josh Allen. Oh. Okay, that's fine. Why is Justin... Yeah, I'll go with Herbert. Going with Herbert. What's my roster look like here? Okay. Continuing on, looks like we got a tight end and defense to fill and a kicker. Okay. Sorry, going over in my head here. How I want to go about this. Like I said, everything will be summarized at the end of the video. Do not fret for those that did not tune in live and don't or want to skip through the draft process itself, the draft party itself. It stinks that you couldn't join, but we're cruising, right? Continuing on with Patreon content, though, all that money will go to support the channel and support me. Obviously, I have a full-time job that makes plenty of money. I am not begging here. I'm just getting a feeler as to how you guys would want to support this channel and make it grow, make it better. Because I do want to introduce some... I got my pick right on time. Oh, jeez. Jalen Waddle was not who I wanted there, but we're cruising, right? But moving on. Patreon content will go all to help the channel, to help the brand get out, and to help make this thing better. I do want to introduce ideas like the ticker, perhaps, maybe a green screen background, maybe some other little nice things for the website. Maybe introducing a store, even. Just things that would promote the brand and promote the channel. Again, this is a self-starter DIY type deal that really doesn't go without, obviously, contributions from me, duh. But also people taking interest in the art, people taking interest in supporting their favorite content creators. I love doing this. But in today's world, you got to learn how to make money too. So I'm still going to do it whether or not money is a factor, but it would be nice to hear from you guys how you'd want to support the channel and how to make it better. That comes with ideas, that comes with money, that comes with being a supporter of the channel through likes, comments, shares, etc. Just overall Any support is appreciated, whether you can give it monetarily or not. It does not matter. I appreciate you. Straight up. I have been slacking here. Mom picks Evan McPherson. Actually, that's a pretty good kicker. Solid pick there. And depending on how the Bengals offense does, he could get you some points. So, that felt good. 25 minutes in here. We are about round 7. So getting kind of starting lineups meshed out here. More than likely, as with any standard fantasy draft, you're getting those starting lineups situated and kind of loading up on people's possible tradables, possible key bench players. Generally, in these later rounds, you're doing team building rather than picking your stars. So that's what we're seeing here right now. It looks like there's a lot of backup running backs, a lot of backup wide receivers, maybe guys that are wide receiver 2 and 3 going off the board, and then you've got your kickers and your defenses as well, which are kind of the cornerstones of absolutely nothing. They're just there for extra points. If you pick your team based off of kickers and defense, you're not very good. I hate to say it. That's nothing against anyone, but don't pick those in the early rounds. Just food for thought. Anyways, who you got the Steinleys picking here? Elijah Mitchell was the last pick for Team Merrigan, and I am up. Who am I gonna pick here? Probably gonna look at the running backs. Ooh. Go ahead and pick Kareem Hunt there, and then tight end. Yeah, we'll go ahead and pick Darren Waller. Okay. So, all right. So the first 2 bench players need a defense and a kicker. Okay. And to those of you that kind of say, oh, well, if they're auto-picking, your chances of winning are bigger for the ones that didn't auto-pick. Yes and no. Generally, the ESPN app or the Sleeper or whatever you go through picks the best available or the suggested picks. So, I mean, with those that don't know all that much about fantasy football, it's a really easy way to pick. And, you know, honestly, sometimes your teams turn out to be pretty good. You'll just have to manage that team throughout and make trades and stuff. Because generally speaking, it's going to overload your bench with a certain position, that being either wide receiver or running back most of the time. But that's just the cover for the flex. I personally gather up a specific position group in order to deal out trades or something like that. Or if I know that a guy's, say, select Christian McCaffrey, I'm going to look up on running backs just because I know he's really injury prone. The reason I took both Browns running backs there is because I get the entire Browns running game or running back game really in general, because both of them can catch patches. Generally, you want to see that, and I know that with Jacoby Brissett, at least for those first few games, you're going to see a lot of backdoor passes. You're going to see a lot of curl routes, a lot of dink and dunk passes, which are perfect for running backs. So that's why I picked both Browns running backs there. Luckily enough, I could do that. But moving on, we had quite the weekend of college football. I had the privilege of attending the KU game where they blew out Tennessee Tech 56-10. A lot of people are saying, well, that's mid-tier FCS school. What does it matter? I think you can't really tell what. Ooh, Jalen Hurts, good pick. You can't really gauge how well the Jayhawks are going to do without first seeing. Okay, so gonna draft the Bucks. Sorry. Go ahead and draft the best kicker too. All right. Keep it going. But we're here. We're cruising. You know, I completely forgot what I was talking about there. Kansas football. I think being there, personally, you could tell that there was something different in the air, that there was a different vibe with the fan support this year. I think there's a lot of people that believe in Lance Leipold and what he's doing for the KU football program. We saw a lot of momentum coming in and a lot of promise, but is that promise going to be turned into action is what we need to look at. And in my opinion, it's a yes. I think Lance Leipold is eventually going to get KU football back to being a perennial, well, back to average at least. You know, those years in 07 and 08, well, 08 not as much, but you know, that magical year of 07, and then a couple years in the 90s and the 80s as well. Other than that, KU football's been pretty average. Do I want to see them get back to averageness? Yes. Do I want to see them go further than that? Even more so, yes. I think a competitive KU football team would be great for the Big 12 should they decide to stay. It promotes more competition. It is going to make sure the Big 12 still has relevance. Once Oklahoma and Texas move to the SEC, I mean, yeah, you've got basketball and you've got, you know, Baylor, Kansas State, etc. They're still members of the conference, but also at the same time, 1 minute. Oh yeah, I'm actually gonna. Do that. All right. Nope. Okay. So 3 more picks to be made here in the draft. We're coming into those real late rounds, the what they're called in the actual world, day 2 picks. In fantasy, they're just the late round picks because if your fantasy football draft lasted 2 days, I think you'd be kind of psychotic. Just a little bit too into fantasy football there, aren't we? I don't know. You may notice I dressed for the occasion as well. I didn't break this out just because, it's, you know, less than a week before football starts. I don't know. Just felt like breaking it out for the draft. Judge me. I don't care. Going back to college football, though. I think Mizzou with Luther Burden looks absolutely stellar. I think they will make a case for themselves Do I think they're in contention for the SEC championship? Absolutely not. But I think Luther Burden definitely is a key piece of that offense and will take them far. Um, and if he stays into his junior and senior year, he will maybe take that team to the mountaintop of the SEC championship again. I don't know. Um, really, one man doesn't make a football team, um, but having key pieces flow together is all important. So, um, kind of circling back around to the ones that the topics that I didn't really cover too much in depth. Um, Again, Blues Rugby has a game against Wisconsin. They'll be traveling up there rather than um, being down here, though. Or, well, actually, let me clarify that. I don't believe so. My apologies if I made a mistake there. Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Blues. Okay. Yeah, my apologies. It's actually quite different than being away. Um, Completely went over my head. It's been a long weekend, y'all. But the Blues will be playing at the current training facility against against Wisconsin. That one over off 635, the brand new one. Special thank you to the Kansas City Current for allowing us to use that facility for our game. It's got great grass, great stands. It's perfect for rugby and for soccer. Um, we're hoping to get quite a few people out to that game. I will be out there myself, much unlike this past week. I will be out there playing the game and um, fraternizing, getting the media done around the Kansas City Blues. But it's going to be a great matchup. Home field going to be at a really nice facility that we're being loaned to by a very generous club that's making the waves themselves, and headed into playoffs with a bang, i.e., the Current. I need to make sure if their winning streak is still alive. Hold on, because it's a possibility. I may have skimmed over that. I should tune back into the draft. I just realized. Okay, we're good. All right, my pick. Perfect. 1 second here. Okay, got my 2 picks in. What was I gonna say? You know, it's like, oh. Okay. Had to get my stuff in order in terms of the draft. But it's going to be a really great game at a really great facility. I highly encourage you to go. Blues are going to be showing out for this one. It's going to be a great game. Lots of excitement in the air going around with this new look Blues team with a new coach and Derek Pearson. Fortunately, they couldn't get it done this past Saturday against a very, very tough and experienced Metropolis team. But again, the score looked a lot closer than what it was. Or excuse me, the score did not indicate what it was or how close it was. It was tight all the way up until the 60th minute. I mean, truly. And it definitely could have gone better, but it was a learning experience for next time, and it's the first game jitters out of the way. I think the Blues come out firing against Wisconsin this coming Saturday, and it's going to be a great game for what we're hoping to see as a huge home crowd. So come on out. Tickets are $5. Easy access to beer, food, etc. And it's just a great atmosphere in general. So come on out and see us. Yeah, we are nearing the last pick here of the draft. I wield the pick of Mr. Irrelevant. And if all goes well here, I will have my Mr. Irrelevant. It's going to be a good league. I'd see a lot of names on here that could have been picked on this list that didn't get picked. One particular one that I'm seeing is Tom Brady not coming off the board. I'm not going to fix that because I hate Tom Brady. Matthew Stafford it is. Matthew Stafford is the Mr. Irrelevant of this year's draft of the BKCFL draft. Let me look here. Perfect. All right. I like my team. I like my team a lot. This is definitely one of the best fantasy teams that I've drafted in quite some time. But for who I have, I ended up with Justin Herbert at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor at running back, Aaron Jones at backup running back, Keenan Allen at wide receiver, Terry McLaurin at wide receiver, Darren Waller at tight end. Flex is going to be Nick Chubb. My defense is the Buccaneers. My kicker is Justin Tucker. We got Jalen Waddle on the bench, Kareem Hunt on the bench, Hunter Renfrow on the bench, David Harris on the bench, Cordell Patterson, Devonta Smith, and Matt Stafford. So, pretty solid season. They're a pretty solid team. Now, let's look at the matchups, shall we? All right, so we got, with Courtney Merrigan, we've got Kyler Murray, Alvin Kamara, Leonard Fournette, Jamar Chase, Deontay Johnson, Kyle Pitts, Javonte Williams, the Pittsburgh defense in Brandon McManus as kicker with Breece Hall, Marquise Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Amari Cooper, Allen Robinson, Rashad Bateman, and Drake London, all playing bench there. So that's a decent team too, I must say. AutoPick did real well. Now let's see who we got for Team Merrigan here. We got Jalen Hurts, Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Mark Andrews, Ezekiel Elliott, the Baltimore defense, and Dan Carlson with Brandon Cooks, Elijah Mitchell, Cortland Sutton, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Carter, and Pat Freiermuth on the bench. So that's a solid team as well. Let's go to the Kansas City Crowhawks, ran by Missy D. Donder, my mom. Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, very fitting. She's very much into Patrick Mahomes. So again, auto predict did well. David Montgomery, Devin Singletary. I don't know, those running backs are a bit rough, but she does make a bit of a comeback here with Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, and George Kittle, so that receiving core is pretty good. With Darnell Mooney on flex, Buffalo defense with Evan McPherson as a kicker. We've got Lamar Jackson on the bench. Ooh. So that's a deadly QB combo. If only your QB could be your flex, right? I kid. Rohandre Stevenson of New England. The New Orleans Saints defense, Dallas Goedert, Nick Folk, A.J. Dillon, and Chase Claypool. Having a backup kicker and defense in there is intriguing, but we'll see how that team does. Team Merrigan 2, we've got Joe Burrow, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Dalton Schultz, Mike Williams, San Francisco's defense, Matt Gay, with Jerry Jeudy, Chris Godwin, Josh Jacobs, Michael Thomas, Chase Edmonds, Robert Woods, and Kadarius Toney all on the bench. That's a pretty solidly picked team as well. I think you've got a really good running back duo. I think Saquon's going to play with a chip on his shoulder this year. And given the fact that the Giants have no other offense other than that, he's going to get a lot of carries. So that's a really good running back duo. I think you're going to earn quite a few points off that double team. And then, your wide receiving core with Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill is pretty stupid, I must say. That's a great core. Hopefully Tua can get the ball to Tyreek. But, and hopefully Derek Carr doesn't spread his options too thin and misses a wide open Devontae Adams, which I don't think he will. They're college teammates, so the chemistry is there. But that bench looks pretty solid as well. So expect Team Merrigan to really compete for the title there. Let's go with Berlin Jellydon. We've got Josh Allen, DeAndre Swift, James Conner, Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, TJ Hawkinson, Cam Akers, Indiana's defense with Tyler Bass as kicker. We've got Travis Etienne, DK Metcalf, J.K. Dobbins, Gabriel Davis, Miles Sanders, Adam Thielen, and Elijah Moore. That's a solid team for an auto picks team. That Deebo Samuel pick is one that I suggested in that preseason edition of the fantasy football guide for the draft. Other than that, I mean, you got the league's top wide receiver in Cooper Kupp. You've got one of the league's top quarterbacks in Josh Allen. The running backs are decent, at least. I think Swift is going to have to share some carries with Jamal Williams more than anticipated, but it's still a decent group. That bench is, again, pretty good. Going now to Plowboy. He's got Aaron Rodgers, Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, Tyler Lockett, Alan Lazard, Travis Kelce, Dameon Pierce, Green Bay's defense with Harrison Butker kicker, and Antonio Gibson, Carson Wentz, Cedric Wilson Jr., Byron Pringle, Chris Boswell, Gerald Everett, and Cole Kmet with those last few picks for the bench. I dig that team. I think Najee Harris is going to get a lot of carries for sure. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is a perennial fantasy lock to get you a lot of points. Dalvin Cook and Najee Harris is the two that I'm focusing on right now, though. That is a very, very good duo. Tyler Lockett, I hope that his quarterback's good, but if not, he might not have that great of a year. But look at you getting the K-State product at least. We'll see how his quarterback situation goes, but he's definitely the number one wide receiver over DK Metcalf in Seattle right now. I mean, in my opinion, at least. And then you got Travis Kelce on there, which, again, fantasy lock, receiving tight end, the very definition of one. So, pretty solid team. And finally, the KC Steinleys. They got Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Zach Ertz, T. Higgins, Dallas's defense, Matt Prater with Michael Pittman Jr., Juju Smith-Schuster, Sky Moore, Mecole Hardman, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jerick McKinnon, and Tony Pollard. So a lot of Chiefs. That's bold pickings. I dig it. Very solid group there. As long as Chiefs offense does well, shoot, you'll do well. So the Dallas defense one, though, does kind of concern me. I think Dallas's defense is not as good as marketed. They've got a great front seven, well, great front seven. Their linebackers are really the only great part about it. And then their secondary, man, that's a risky pick in my opinion. That's one of the riskier ones that I've seen. But overall, win probabilities are looking pretty even down the board. Looking like we're gonna have a real good season this year. The games begin on September 8th. When football begins. So be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited to see how this draft comes out. In case you can't do the math, 8 times 5 is a $40 winner. So the winner will be getting a $40 in cash. A cool $40 in cash. I say that's pretty fair. You can buy yourself a nice dinner for two. Maybe take your lady out, take your man out, if you got one, or take some friends out. But buy nosebleeds at a Royals game. I think $40 is pretty decent. Yeah, I guess the Royals will be over by the time the league's over, so never mind on that. You can buy yourself a beer at Arrowhead. But yeah, $40 is respectable. So that's what's up for grabs between these 8 competitors, including myself. If I win the $40, it's going straight back into building stuff for the channel. So hopefully you guys will win as well. If I do win. I'm not going to say I'm going to win. Fantasy football is very fickle. But I say I got a good shot. I got a pretty good shot. Yeah. That's our show for today. Thank you for joining me for the draft party. Kind of want to hit on Mocam football a little more. Probably tomorrow-ish. Kind of put out the new rankings for Mocam football. That's probably what's going to be tomorrow's article, so be on the lookout for that. And then we'll get more into college football as well. Looking like a pretty solid week. NFL opener, obviously, will be talked about. So just tune in throughout the week and check out the articles. And then on Sunday we'll have the Scorchcast as scheduled. I know a few people had some questions saying, well, where's the Scorchcast? Is it supposed to be on Sunday? This is your Scorchcast, your Labor Day edition Scorchcast. Kind of the group. I don't know what I was going to say there. My brain's fried. I've been talking for 53 minutes. But, today's practically Sunday. Get over it. It's a special because you're special. That's our show. Have a great one, Casey.